For making it. I'd like to start with introductions all around so that our audience knows who they're talking to. We'll go alphabetically, which is fair because my name starts with 2 A's. I'll demonstrate, which is, and then we'll move to, I guess not Byron because he's not here, and then Chris, and then finally Ross. But I'm in general just looking for names, occupation, whatever else you want thanks, Coco. Whatever else you want our audience members to know about you. So just to start off, hi there, everybody. My name is Aaron. This is Coco Penelope. Thank you, everybody, for coming on out. I will be your panel host today. Feel free to submit questions below as we go. And I'll go ahead and pass it off to Chris.
Hi, my name's Chris. Been in the professional technology industry 25 years now, something like that. Working live events, concerts, audiovisual, networking for on-site events. Did a lot of Wi-Fi setups, a lot of temporary network setups. A lot of the equipment that we work with nowadays in audiovisual, everything was either networked or over fiber, Cat5. We had our own servers and systems. We would build and deploy them. So it was really cool. Then decided to transition into cybersecurity when yet again the economy collapsed, and those working in any kind of entertainment or hospitality are the first ones to lose their jobs and the last ones to get them back. So since school finished up and I got my Security Plus certification, I'm now doing, I have my own business. I'm doing some side work here and there. I'm actually doing a big server migration a week from Saturday. Then I have another job coming up doing a security camera install at a location. And then I'm regularly on Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, which are great sites. And CTFs quite a bit, actually. Last CTF I did, other than yours, Aaron, sorry, was a Booz Allen Hamilton CTF. Our team came in 2nd place, and I came in 13th overall at the CTF. And that was, I think, out of 70 or 80 participants, I want to say. We had like 10 or 15 teams. So that's me. Senor Ross.
Hello, I'm Ross, and I am a newly turned computer programmer and data security analyst. I taught myself during the pandemic, I taught myself how to program, and I took the cybersecurity course, and that's how I met Chris and Aaron through UCSD Extension. I'm now working at a company called Lytix, basically doing automation work, data security, and a little bit of web design. So, but I'm new to this whole tech world. I got a degree in business from University of San Diego, and I was a consultant before this. And then COVID came by and was just like, you're going to be a computer guy now. And I have to say, it was a great switch. I really like the position that I'm in now, and I'm happy to be lending any knowledge that I can in this panel, especially to be reunited with my friends Aaron and Chris. This is a really cool experience, very nostalgic for me.
Yeah, especially the Zoom part, right? Right at home.
100%. 100%.
Like it's never changed.
And the backgrounds and everything.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Chris, Ross. Again, you kind of hit on it, but we all come from a common background, right? Does anyone want to tell the audience exactly how we all became acquainted in detail?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go for it.
How far in detail do you want us to get?
Well, maybe
we can start from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was born in there was a extension course offered by UCSD that started, I believe, last June, was it?
It was supposed to start in May, remember, and it got pushed back to June.
Yeah, and it was a boot camp designed to take any skill level from beginner to advanced and teach you all the working skills that you needed in order to land a job in the cybersecurity field. Now, cybersecurity is, as I'm sure most of the people here know, one of the fastest growing industries right now. I think it was valued last time I checked at like $150 billion worldwide, or was growing to meet that. And it was a 6-month long course part-time where we had, I think, 3 classes a week. 2 of them were 3 hours from 6 to 9, and one was 4 hours on a Saturday. And what was that, from 10 to 2?
10 to 2 every Saturday.
Yeah. So we got very well acquainted over Zoom with each other. We had a study group, which was more of actually a hangout and do homework group. Um, although a lot of learning happened, I have to attribute most of my success to that study group, and I have to thank Chris for putting that together. He was really the mastermind behind all of that. But you spend 6 months together over the phone or over the Zoom on the video chat for hours, many hours a week. You start to get close to people, and so we kept in contact. We got a cybersecurity Discord chat that we post cat photos in. All of the essentials that a true friendship brings about.
Oh, I think on top of that too, we were spending 20, 30 hours a week after class, outside of class, working with each other in some form or another, or still studying or doing the projects. Or, I mean, you got to think about it. It's not just the 24 hours a week. It was on top of that, it was another 20 to 30 hours of, for those of us that really put in our time and wanted to do this. We were meeting up 3-4 times a week sometimes, Ross, going over through projects and going over homework. And then we had a happy hour we would do on Friday nights. We could hang out, have some drinks on Zoom, and kind of blow off steam and
get silly.
Yeah, and it was tough because when I first signed up for the program, it was supposed to be at the UCSD Extension campus down off the 805. And then when COVID hit, they took everything virtual. Everything went online. And then so about halfway, I don't know, maybe quarter of the way through the program, a lot of us had been talking. We had started to kind of become friends. We had started to kind of work on some projects together. And we were discussing that, hey, I was tutoring a lot of people on the side, one-on-one, which was just sort of like, I was pulling my hair out because I was constantly helping somebody. So I hit up the group and I was like, guys, I need some help here. Let's start a study group. We can get everybody together and then we can help each other out. And we started doing that, and that worked really, really well. And then we were all like, hey, when are we just going to hang out and have fun? And so then, sometimes it would turn into just log in on a, Thursday afternoon or like a Wednesday afternoon. And you're like, oh, okay, I finished the homework in 20 minutes. What are you guys doing? And, and we would just kind of hang out, wait for people to come and go and help other people out. And, but it was a very bonding experience because you're very much in the trenches going through a very accelerated program.
Y'all had a lot of work. I mean, I still have access to that curriculum, and y'all definitely put in more time outside of the class than in, and you already were putting in lots of time in the class. My first question for both of you is, what did you expect to get out of that course versus what did you actually end up getting? That's something I want to know.
That's a good question. I think.
Go
ahead, Russ. No, go ahead. It's all right.
Such a gentleman.
Always.
I can answer the expectations thing. I had no expectations. At the time that I started the course, I had lost my job. I was unemployed due to the COVID crisis. And I figured it was going to be a great opportunity for me to switch, career paths. Because as I said before, I was in consulting before I took that class. And consulting just wasn't a good fit for me personality wise. I'm that type of guy who I like to pet my cat and sit on my computer. And so I didn't know what to expect out of it. My expectation was to land a job. I did land a job, not in cybersecurity, but within that role, I've actually been able to carve this super niche position where I actually am doing cybersecurity now, which is really cool. I brought a ton of extra skills to the table. And I believe that I've brought enough value to the company to justify my salary. So that was a big plus. Yeah. So I mean, I had no expectations other than get a job, and I matched my expectations. I did not expect to to make so many friends who I actually hang out with now. I have a few friends from the class other than Chris who I actually do hang out with on a regular basis. And it's, you know, just the bonding experience, the learning experience. I now can say I know how to hack people's Wi-Fi, which is a really good pickup line. And it's in my Tinder bio. So yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of positives came out of the course that I did not expect.
I would second that, absolutely. There's a lot of things that I think I was not expecting to build the friendships that I built. I think going into a cybersecurity course, the way that it's marketed, and I think cybersecurity in general, the way that it's marketed right now, is it makes it very sexy. It's you're going to learn how to hack, you're going to learn how to breach networks, you're going to learn how to tear things down, and that's a portion of cybersecurity. It really is. Most of cybersecurity is going through logs, looking for suspicious activity, making sure that the right ports are secured. That's something like 60%, 67%, I think is what the number is, of all breaches are caused by an employee clicking on a malicious link. So, I mean, a lot of it is just defense. Everybody wants to do the penetration test. Everybody wants to be the pen tester. But when you look at cybersecurity as a whole, the field, it's kind of a misnomer because the field is so freaking big. I mean, you've got everything from GRC to forensics to penetration testing to blue teaming to SOC to CTOs. I mean, your career path in cybersecurity can be pretty dramatic depending on which avenue you kind of want to go down as you go. And that was what I did not expect to find out, was exactly how much is out there and how deep the field is and how wide it is, especially. The other thing I never expected was how much I would fall in love with Linux. I'm a huge fan of Linux. I mean, I've been a Windows guy my entire life. I've worked a lot with Macs. It's Macs and PCs. I'm definitely a power user. But when we start getting into the Linux modules, and even now to this day, all the work that I do, all the stuff I do online, all the continuing education I'm doing, all the practicing I'm doing, it's all in Linux. I still am working on, the PC side because, getting to know Active Directory better and more of the, penetration side of Active Directory and API calls. But really, Linux is kind of the way. If you're an attacker, Linux is the way to go. If you're a defender, Windows is probably better. Your better bet. But sorry, that was kind of a rambling answer there.
No, we love rambling answers. You're giving us a lot of good information. In the interest of making sure we talk about certifications at some point, I will pass things over to I don't care how long we take. It's just I got to fit it in the first 30 minutes or something. But
sure.
So thank you, by the way, for telling me all about the course. As for reference, my connection is that I was a TA for this class and had a lot of fun helping people with problems as well. Thank you, Chris, for helping pull some of the slack sometimes. I appreciate that, because we were only obligated to be there, like a couple hours a day, but you would be there far longer than us sometimes.
Sometimes.
And we appreciate that. Okay, most of the time. And we appreciate that.
For sure.
So the course itself is kind of preparatory to the content on the CompTIA Security Plus exam, which is why I believe everyone here has studied for and completed that exam, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Would someone like to explain, just as a review, what the Security Plus exam is?
Want to take this one, Chris?
Sure. So the Security Plus exam is it's an inch deep and it's 1,000 miles wide. It literally covers every different aspect of cybersecurity. It's a randomized test they have, I think, up to 500 or 800 questions. They randomize the test into 150 questions, and then it tests your knowledge to make sure that you actually know what this stuff is. It is considered to be an entry-level certification, but it is required by DoD if you're looking to get into any kind of government employment or DoD employment. But it is a lot of the entry level jobs too. You'll see them. They want, A+ or Network Plus, but definitely Security Plus. It covers everything from the tools to the regulations to HIPAA laws to what was that banking law? I can never remember. It's the Biggs-Jackson Act or something. It's got a long, convoluted name. It covers GRC. It covers password complexity and reuse. It covers, I mean, you name it, it's in there. But like I said, it's 3 or 4 questions on each separate topic, but it shows that at least the basics of all the different topics, including on top of that, there is a practical part of it where you actually have to solve the problem. Either it's presenting you with an issue that you need to be able to solve, or being able to place the appropriate equipment within a network diagram somewhere where it belongs. And that the practicals are really, if the practicals really do trip people up from a lot of people that I've heard from. If you don't have a background in any kind of IT, if you don't really have I mean, if you know how computers work, great. Computer scientists, though, generally have a very hard time on the practical part of it because it is a practical hands-on. You need to have known how to design the system and build the system and then go in and do maintenance on the system from the command line. But that's pretty much Sec Plus in I wouldn't say a nutshell. Ross, you got anything to add to that or anything I missed? Or
I think you covered it all pretty well. I don't have much to add to that other than, it really just is like, if you want to get into cybersecurity, Sec Plus is step number 1 for certifications.
Yeah.
So Ross, I think you mentioned it at the end there, but why would someone want to take the exam? Or I guess to be more personal, why did you want to take the exam? What were you hoping to get out of it?
A job. Pure and simple. I was unemployed. I was running out of unemployment money. I was like, I want to go into cybersecurity. I need something that can prove that I have the skills to get a cybersecurity job. And Sec Plus, as Chris said, it covers all aspects of cybersecurity, whether you want a pen test, whether you want a blue team, whether you're interested in network security, whether you're interested in data security, and even the conceptual side of it, like as Chris said, it covers regulations, it covers coming up with a cybersecurity plan, because a lot of there's cybersecurity consulting where they just come in and they a lot of companies don't even think about cybersecurity. I mean, think about the last time a huge data breach happened. I'm pretty sure one just happened because I got an email from Firefox saying that my email got leaked again.
Which
so now
one?
I got to scan all of them. So, the cybersecurity field is just, cybersecurity is an umbrella term. There's careers within it. It is this overarching career path, but it really has, for whatever your personality type is, for whatever your interests are, there is a spot for you in cybersecurity, and Sec Plus will give you the piece of paper that you can wave in front of your employer and be like, hey, I know these things.
Awesome. Chris, do you have anything you wanted to add to that, or are you satisfied?
No, to answer that question, yes. My brain is just spinning in a million different directions of things we could talk about, and that's why I really think we do need a podcast. Because I don't know if you guys don't listen to Darknet Diaries, the podcast. Listen to Darknet Diaries; it's amazing.
There's a lot of Darknet Diaries fans in this chat.
Oh, I love Darknet. I was just listening to the Pirate Bay episode today, and I just finished his most recent episode. Episode 91, where he was interviewing the woman who's an incident response specialist. Her story is amazing. And she doesn't her whole job is to come in after there's been a breach and do the complete total investigation and incident response. And it's insane. It's incredible what she does. Yeah, for World Bank. Yep. Oh, Tristan did listen to that. Yeah, it wasn't it? I was literally sitting there oh my God. I was I was enraptured with that whole story. It was incredible. And then with
Yeah.
the news, the press leaking, and oh man, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually managed to listen to that episode before coming into here too. It was a good
Perfect.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for answering the questions. Hold on, sorry. Coco's kicking
Mhm.
me, so I got a little distracted there. So the next question I wanted to ask, and just as a reminder to the audience, anyone is welcome to shoot messages into the Q&A to ask our distinguished individuals here. Could you tell us a little bit about how each of you prepared for the Security Plus exam?
Yeah, Ross, Ross finished it while we were still in the program.
Yeah.
We weren't even done.
So there are a few things that motivate a person more than necessity. And my necessity was, as I explained earlier, running out of unemployment money and finding myself in a situation where I was like, I'm either going to have to move back in with my parents or be out of luck, right?
Out on your
And
butt.
so
Yeah.
out on my butt, to censor that word. And so, when I look back, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I say that, but I'm going to tell you why it was a big deal, basically. So I prepared for the Security Plus examination without the tools that most people would. I mean, there are plenty of tools, but I primarily used LinkedIn Learning. I had a LinkedIn Premium subscription, and Mike Chappell makes some fantastic videos covering in depth every single module and I believe like sub module on the Security Plus exam. And I like learning visually and auditorily. Like that's how I absorb information best. If there's an audio book for something, I'll listen to it. Because I like to listen while I'm either doing something else, or it's a lot easier for me to just pop on a video and watch it than it is for me to read. I get distracted easily. And so I probably studied every single day for about 6 weeks prior. The best way to prepare for the exam for me was to set a date and then study for it with that hard deadline in mind. Because Security Plus is one of those things where it's just there's so much information to cover that if you studied until you felt ready, the chances are very high that you probably wouldn't feel ready at any point that would be, preferable for any sort of timeline that you set for yourself.
Yeah.
And so for me, the timeline was I'm setting a date that's 6 weeks ahead of today, and I'm going to study my butt off until that day. And so I watched all of Mike Chappell's videos. If there was something I was confused about, I'd watch it again. And then in the final 2 weeks prior to the test, I found this website called Get Certified, Get Ahead. Really, really great for Security Plus. There's also CertMaster, which is I believe CompTIA sponsored. Chris is shaking his head yes and endorsing CertMaster. He loved it so much. Get Certified, Get Ahead was great because they had practice exams, and I took a practice exam every single day for 2 weeks prior to the exam. And yeah, that was how I prepped. So it was 6 weeks worth of prep.
Yeah, you were on that. Yeah, I did do the CertMaster. Oh, Ross is gonna roll his eyes at me. That's why he turned his camera off. Cert. Yeah, we'll just CompTIA offers CertMaster. I was not thrilled with the product, but that was me. There's other people I know that felt the same, other people that don't feel the same. On the Apple App Store, there's actually, as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see that. I have a whole bunch of different apps, and this is multi-pages of just study guides and things that I can do. One of them is literally called the Security Plus. Guy made, it's the best app. It's literally the Security Plus app in the App Store. Just search for Security Plus. It's made by, I can't remember what this guy's name is. It's made by a Russian. Guy's kind of got like a Russian last name, but he's got 30 different exams that he's done all tests for. And it's great. You can do a test session. So let me see if I can get that up there. Sorry. There's test sessions. You can practice. Flashcards are great. And it's literally, you can just sit here on the app and just test and test and test and test. If you're taking a break at school, if you're sitting at home not doing anything, when I was, I'll be waiting to pick up my kids from school, I'll be sitting in car line, literally just, and it tracks all your results, and then it also tells you where you're weak, and it shows you where to go back and do it again. I liked his stuff so much. I now have his Security Plus. He has one for CEH. I'm taking the Pen Test Plus in June 12th. I want to say I'm taking my Pen Test Plus. He's also got AWS SysOps. He's just got a ton of stuff. The other one that's a big help is Cybrary. I'm sure you guys have probably heard of Cybrary. It is a subscription platform, but it's very, very, very worth it. You only have to go on for a monthly plan. You don't have to pay a multi-contract or anything. And then LinkedIn was great. And then Coursera, really, really good places just to study and go back, and you can watch the videos, and you can and you're running through test after test after test after test. And I would recommend the same thing, as Ross did. It's once you go through the study material, practice, 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 practice. The other thing is, I'm sure you all saw me stacking up enough books to choke a horse. This is McGraw-Hill CompTIA Security Plus. It is by Glenn Clark. It came with a book of sample tests, and it also came with a DVD, believe it or not. But it had over 500 practice exams on the DVD that I was able to download. Yes, Tristan, everything I've named is absolutely worth the price. The Security Plus, this study guide, actually, I think more than anything else, was one of my biggest things that I went through. And I went through that thing from front to back, start to finish, did all the practice exams in there. And that really just kind of helped to hammer everything home, because it is, but the Amazon does have a deal right now on it where you can actually get it with the DVD or the CD-ROM in the back. You just gotta make sure somebody has a CD-ROM that you can download it to a computer. But it's very much worth it. It's very, very, very much worth it. Because like, Ross said, when, in a 6-month program, we're compressed, and we're slamming all of this entire industry in a time period that long. You'd be surprised at how much, you're going back to your study guide and go, oh, I completely forgot about that. Because your brain is so deep into just trying to twist it all out and make it all sense of it. So this was great. This was absolutely great. So that's what I would recommend.
Awesome. Thank you. Now actually, yeah, go ahead.
No, I said you're welcome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, I think everyone here pretty much just passed the exam on their first try, but how did you actually feel when you were taking the exam? Did you feel confident? Tell me about the experience.
Not at all.
Chris and I are both in the same boat. I felt like I was failing the whole exam. The
entire time.
Whole time I felt like I missed every single answer. They were trying to trick us the whole time. The question, you have to, if you're not good at reading test questions, CompTIA is the trial by fire to make sure that you read, and you got to know a lot about grammar and all those jive, because it was just it was a tough exam. It was a very tough exam.
Yeah, CompTIA, they designed their stuff specifically so that you have to know the material to pass the exam. You have to know what you're testing on. And it's scary as hell. You're sitting there, you're looking at it. There's a few questions I read 3 or 4 times going, I think I understand what they're asking, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. And since in order to pass the exam, you actually need an 83%, I believe. What's the
750 out of 900 or above?
750 out of 900 or above, which is about 83%. So that's a pretty high score anyways. That's a lot of imaginary internet points, Tony.
It really is.
And yeah, so, you know, with that level of, there's not a lot of wiggle room there on how high you have to score. And it's also a time test. I believe you only get 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
90 minutes for 80 questions.
80 questions plus the practicals. 80. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it varies. We might have had 2 different length tests, but yeah, no, I felt like I was failing the whole time. And then they tell you if you pass immediately. So you get a message at the end after you do your survey, and then they tell you whether you pass or not. And when I saw that I passed, I was baffled, but I walked around with my chest puffed out pretty hard for a long time. I was really stoked.
Yeah.
So
that was the worst part of it. Yeah, you had to do that damn survey. You had to do that stupid survey before you got your results. It was like,
it's terrible.
It was.
Like, why do you have to torture me like this?
Oh man. Sorry, Aaron. What were you gonna say?
No worries. It's just I'm wondering.
Oh, Aaron, you froze.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
CompTIA.
Were the practice?
Oh.
Am I audible now?
You froze pretty hard for a while.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because like I'm still on my computer. Like I literally watched myself freeze, right? And I'm like, oh damn, there it goes.
That's fantastic.
Sorry about that. And it might be perfectly fine up in the cloud too, because that's how that works. So like the recording, it might just show me just looking angry for a second. You know, it might not show the freeze at all.
CompTIA got you.
Yeah, CompTIA heard me talking about their exam and took me out. No, I was asking because were the practice exams and the other materials that you got just not comparable to the real thing?
No, the practice exams that I took were also really hard. But as Chris said, he touched on a great point. They really designed their tests to where if you don't know why something is the way it is, like let's say with networking, or actually networking is a bit more memorization, but if you didn't know the why behind a concept, you weren't going to get the question right. No amount of practice tests that you take and memorizing answers could, this isn't your typical, you know, math quiz that you take in like high school or something like that. This is more, it's a lot more abstract. It's a lot more conceptual. It's a lot more, you need to know how things work and why they work in order to get the questions correct.
Yeah, and they'll throw some zingers at you. Things you weren't expecting. Yeah, they love to set up scenarios. Like I remember some of the questions were following a scenario based on a breach, and then the questions would follow that, but it would take a turn to all of a sudden it would be covering regulations and compliance. And I'm like, well, okay, I wasn't expecting that. And then it would turn back to going to securing the network, and then it would go into, well, look at this phishing campaign, on and on and on and on. So it was very much, you have to know what you're talking about to pass the exam, period. I mean, you can't just, schedule it and take it, and because you're going to look at it and go, I have no idea what any of this means.
Yep.
Especially the practical sides.
So you mentioned that, and I'll play the devil's advocate here. Like, let's assume that I have like a week before my exam, right? And I haven't studied,
Right.
and probably I'm screwed. But the point of this question is, what is like the single most valuable thing that you did that actually prepared you for the exam that you think was the most useful? If you had like a week to study, what would you spend that week doing, basically?
Practice tests.
Practice tests.
Practice tests. 100% practice tests.
Yeah.
There you go. Consensus. All right, that's easy then.
And do not buy brain dumps. Do not go online and find copies of the tests, because people have bumped them online. there is a system that when you get on, their systems lock down your entire computer when you take the exam.
Yep, they got
And
that
unless,
lockdown.
yeah, and unless you're a forensic expert that really knows how to wipe everything, every last piece of evidence that you were on a site you shouldn't have been, they will find out, they will flunk you, and they will ban you from ever taking the test again.
Yeah, it's rough.
So keep it legitimate.
Dang, I've heard their online test taking procedures are kind of interesting. Is it true they have you like take a picture or like a video of your whole
You
room and
scan
like
the
do a
whole room,
360?
above, below.
Yeah. So you have to take a picture in order to get in, and then a test taking advisor will get on the video chat with you, and they will ask that you pick up your webcam, or in my case, you know, I got my laptop, and I had to pick it up, move it around, all this jive. There was a whiteboard behind me, and they asked me, there's like, is there any writing on your whiteboard? They wanted to see the whiteboard. I didn't have anything on the whiteboard besides the date and a few memes. But yeah, I had to take down the whiteboard. They wanted to physically watch me place my phone out of arm's reach. They record your webcam footage the whole time to make sure that you stay at your desk, because if you get up and leave, you're immediately failed. So you have to make sure you use the bathroom beforehand. You know, drink all your, you know, drink a little bit of water so you're a little hydrated, but not enough that you have to, you know, get up and leave. Otherwise, you're going to be holding it for the next 90 minutes. It was a little wonky, but you know, I passed, so I don't have to take it again. Haha.
No, but you got to recertify in 5 years.
There's an easy way to do that, though, supposedly.
There is. I've already done it.
What a big flex, says Tony.
All you got to do is just keep getting your continuing education credits, and you just send it into CompT, and they go, okay.
So let's actually dig into that, because some of our viewers might not know what that is. If you take the exam, how long are you certified for before you have to like take it again?
5
Probably
years.
3 years.
Is it 3?
They email me. I'm sure I'll get reminded.
Interesting. So 3 to 5 years, and you have to like go in and take it again. But you mentioned there's another way to kind of extend that.
Yeah, there's so continuing education credits.
Yeah, CPEs, continuing professional education credits. So as long as you're getting enough CPEs per, and you only need like 30 CPEs per person. So if your certificate's 3 years, you only need 30 in the 3-year period, and then you submit those to CompT, and they go, okay, here you go, because it just shows that you're continuing to educate yourself and you're staying on top of trends, and you know, making sure that you're aware of. It's just the same. It's like the same of being a doctor. As long as you got your doctor's license, you still have to have so many CPEs per year to show that you're still at the forefront of medicine and how medicine's changing. To renew your medical license every so many years. You know, without those, they just won't renew your license.
Interesting. So you already kind of talked about this, but Tristan asks, do you need to retake it if you already have a job in the industry, or is it not enough to just work? You have to actually do some education as well.
Yeah, you have to do the continuing education. If you don't want to retake it, which I suggest you don't, you should do the continuing education credits. But from my understanding, they're actually pretty easy to do. CompTIA emailed me about something.
Yeah, you can literally just sign up for the SANS newsletter. They do free webinars every single month, and they're all worth CPE credits. So it's a lot of it is just, yeah, you literally just go online. You can watch webinars for days on end and just get CPEs that way.
Well, that's how I'll do it in the 3rd year before my certificate.
Yeah, Tristan's seen a few of them. Those SANS webinars are really good. It's really good content they put together. BHIS, Black Hills Information Security, John Strand, they are giving out certificates. I have several from him. Whether CompTIA is going to honor those as CPEs remains to be seen yet. But because BHIS and John Strand and his team are coming up in the world rather quickly, it's a good chance that CompT is going to say, yeah, these are qualified. So, yep, that's right, Tristan. All his pay what you can courses are pretty incredible. And now he's teaming up with Active Countermeasures, and wow, they've done some really, really good stuff. There's a great Active Countermeasures course they do that's free on just beacons, which if you don't know what a beacon is, let us know. We'll talk about it. But just that beacon course alone was epic. There's another one on geolocation. Do you want to talk about? I have a virtual box that is just all about how to literally geolocate bad guys. I could sit here and open it up and run it right now and find people. It's really cool. And you just go through and using the logs, you can actually find and pinpoint somebody's actual physical location, which is part of what I'll be doing probably with my accountant's office.
Fun stuff. So here's another follow-up question to that from Anish. He asks, what would you say, or I guess I'll just read it verbatim and you can interpret this. What would you say is the hardest knowledge domain / biggest area of content to know well?
That differed per person. For me, the toughest one for Sec Plus was cryptography, because cryptography has so many acronyms and so many different ways to actually encrypt things. And every different version of cryptography, they all do basically the same thing, but the way with which they encrypt is different. So like there's, what was it, ECM, and I'm forgetting.
Dude, there's so many acronyms. There's so many. Yeah.
There was one, it was like, take two very large prime numbers and multiply them together, and this gives you the number that you use to perform the function. Which it was hard.
Oh, it sucks. I was not a fan of cryptology, but I mean, and the funny part is cryptology in the cybersecurity world is actually a very niche discipline. Unless you're planning to go down a path where you're going to be doing cryptology and cryptology breaking, it's not really something you need to focus a lot on. Just from a lot of people I know, they don't use it a lot unless you're getting into that, actually the science of it or the creation of it, or I mean, being able to run the algorithm is, as long as you know how to implement it and run it, you're okay. But yeah, crypto was a rough one.
Cryptography on 601 on
yes
SY 601. Okay,
yeah 601 just 601 added more cloud stuff, but yeah, it's there. Gotcha. In fact, that app I was telling you guys about, he just added the 601 study guide course on there. So
what's it called? Security Plus?
Yeah, Security Plus.
I might have to download it.
I gotta look real quick. I gotta remember.
Interesting, because it's funny that you both mentioned cryptography being a point of contention, because here at UCSD, obviously, we're a very academic school, and one of the only classes that you can take like that is, connected to cybersecurity are the cryptography ones. They're like in the math department, and you got to do all that super niche stuff.
Right.
There's a general computer security course that is focused kind of on like exploitation, and even that is also like niche. But as far as coursework goes, there's not honestly that much at UCSD that prepares you for something like the Security Plus exam, right? In fact, our student organization, ACM Cyber, is like basically the best resource on campus for getting involved with this career at all. Like if we didn't exist, the students would not have probably any opportunities to learn about things like the Security Plus exam. So, thank you for coming out and helping contribute to that body of knowledge. It's something that has a real impact. And I know there are multiple people in the audience right now that are studying for that examination as well. You mentioned another exam, which leads me to ask a question relating to other certifications. Are there any other certifications that you've had your eyes on, and why?
I need to take Network Plus.
Didn't you get the voucher for that one?
Yeah, because I got my Security Plus before everyone else, and because I got it before everyone else, I was like, hey, Trilogy, a part of my tuition for this course was getting this voucher, but I already passed the test. So they offered me a substitution voucher for a test from CompTIA that was around the same price. I wanted to take Pen Test Plus, but unfortunately that one's a bit more expensive than Security Plus. So I think I asked you, Aaron, and Fabian, and Andre, our instructor at the time, which one I should take, and everyone was unanimous on Network Plus, and so that's the one I'm eyeballing next.
Cool. I'm taking my Penetration Plus test, which is actually the pen test. It's the 200 beta. The 200 isn't supposed to come out until October, but myself and some other people got an invitation from CompTIA to take the beta version. I'm taking that on June 12th, so that's their new updated version of the Pen Test Plus certification. I'm also working towards my AZ900, which is Azure Security Professional. I've been working towards a cloud cert with AWS, Amazon Web Services, which is really, really popular right now. AWS is coming up in the world pretty quick. Eventually going to get my Network Plus. I know, I mean, I have a networking background, but having that cert won't hurt anything. And then after that, I'm really kind of being drawn towards incident response and forensics. So kind of seeing in that's kind of where my hopeful career trajectory is going to go.
Awesome. So y'all are preparing for exams out the wazoo. That's a lot. So is the structure of the Pen Test Plus any different? Like, is there more of an emphasis on the practical side, or do you know?
Pen Test Plus is all practical because of penetration, but it's not just so, and this is what a lot of people think they forget. And this is something we learned in the program, which I never really thought about. It's one thing to do a penetration test and see if you can get into someone's network. It's another thing to plan it the right way, to be able to write up all the legal documents that you need to go with it, to do the penetration test, and then do the report afterwards, because you have to write a very detailed report with screenshots and everything. The OSCP, which is, oh God, who's the issuing body on OSCP, you guys? It's the same guys that make Kali Linux, but I can never remember the name. They've changed their name.
Offensive security.
Thank you. It's OffSec. Yeah, they changed it recently. That's why I was like drawing a blank. The OSCP is a 24-hour test. It's kind of the same, but it's completely practical. You have 3 boxes you actually have to break into, and then write a full report afterwards and submit it to OffSec to get your OSCP certification. Pen Test Plus it's a written test. You're literally going to sit down, but it goes over all the different tools that you're going to use in a penetration test, or could potentially use in a penetration test. Plus, what's allowed, what's not allowed, how you're going to go over the memorandum of understandings and the scope of work, and how you're going to decide what your targets are going to be, and then at what stage, if you find a critical vulnerability, should you report it, and even how to write the report. Those are actually questions on there. So at the end of your engagement, you need to put this in the report. At what port in the report do you put this information? So it's pretty involved when you get into it, but it is very much the more practical side of things, more than just saying I know how to do this, just from a theoretical standpoint, but that you've actually done it. And the Pen Test Plus, they actually recommend you have 5 years of experience actually in penetration testing before you even take the exam. So
is the Security Plus exam a prerequisite to taking the Pen Test Plus?
It is not, believe it or not. It is not a prerequisite, because not everybody who is a penetration tester has their Security Plus. There's
true.
a lot of people in this business nowadays that their degrees were in business, marketing, stonks. And they, we hear a lot of these people, these leaders in the industry now, oh, I fell into this and I never expected this, I'd be doing this, and now they're doing it. But they don't, they don't necessarily, you don't necessarily need a prerequisite to get your Security Plus or even get your OSCP. You just, you can, oh, thanks for coming, Ishan. Have a good night. I mean, you can spend, you can give OffSec $4,000 and they'll train you on how to take their, OSCP test and, walk you through all the courses and the labs and everything else. But there's no prerequisites. You just got to know what you're doing.
Awesome. So we're nearing, like I want to keep this somewhere between an hour and 30 minutes. As such, we're nearing the end of my questions, but again, anyone from the audience is welcome to add some questions to the queue. Otherwise, we're about a couple away from calling it. Thanks again. Shout out to the audience and shout out to our panelists. But as mentioned, I have a few more questions for you. So speaking of the audience, your audience is mainly comprised of college students that are interested in cybersecurity. And UC San Diego is an amazing school, but again, it's with a very heavy academic focus, and as such, almost has no emphasis on vocational cybersecurity. Truthfully, our organization is probably the best resource on campus right now for that. But would you, given what you know, recommend the Security Plus certification to the to that kind of audience?
Yeah. So the one that's, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Ross.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it because, I mean, it's a lot of like in the way that me and Chris studied for it and the way that a lot of people study for it is it's a lot of self-learning, self-education. And that is a running requisite for any sort of career in cybersecurity. Is you need to be able to teach yourself something and teach yourself something and understand it well and quickly. And so, yeah, I think it's really valuable to prep for that exam, to take that exam, because that will give you a really solid baseline on where you sit in terms of, just teaching yourself things. Google is your best friend. And I think even in our cybersecurity course, they said Google is your best friend. You should be able to Google stuff before you ask people. Of course, that's why the TAs were there. They were our Google in disguise.
We were just Googling things when you asked us, like exactly. just to be clear. That's why we said that all the time.
Exactly.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, Chris.
If you want to get into cybersecurity, I would recommend getting the certification, yes. But study for it. Take the exams, take the test exams, find a good study guide, go through something. There's so many free resources. Professor Messer is amazing. Professor Messer is great. Got all kinds of great content. I will tell you what I thought cybersecurity was. It is a YouTube channel. Thank you, Russ. He actually also has a website, believe it or not. What I thought cybersecurity was when I first started the program and what I end up coming to understand what it really is were two completely different things. So I would say before you go down, run down that path, it'll be good just to have that certification, if any kind of, degree that you get just for any company coming up nowadays anyways, just because it's, we're seeing ransomware hitting almost every single day now. And there's some big stories there. We're seeing all kinds of issues. Security is on everybody's mind. So just knowing what you can to know about, if you're a developer, if you're a designer, if you're going to build anything, if you want to go out and make websites, if you want to build custom code, there's a lot about security on it that people just don't think about. They don't consider it. So yeah, I would say absolutely go get it. go study for it, and it'll help to kind of open your eyes up to how you can secure the stuff that you're going to be making in the future. You know, for all I know, one of you guys is going to invent the warp nacelle, and we're going to have warp technology. But somebody in the API call left a port open, and the next thing we know, some kid is out there, having your ship jump around all over the place. So because he hacked your mainframe.
Or maybe we can figure out how to break AES encryption.
It's just a matter of time, Ross. I think every single piece of encryption has been broken eventually. And here's a fun one. There was a podcast I was listening to the other day, and here's something I want you, everybody, think about this over the next week. See kind of where your brain goes with this, and then get back to Aaron with your thoughts. Because Aaron, I'm also curious to see. So we're getting real close to sending people to Mars, right? We're going to put humans on there before we know it. There's going to be people living on Mars, right? And what's between us? The only way to communicate them is through satellites, right? Who knows what hacking capabilities there's going to be to hack the equipment on Mars, to hack the communications. We're already seeing people. There are already stories out there of people that have directly hacked communication satellites. So, I mean, the frontier of security is now moving. We can run a really long wire. There you go.
I like the way you think, Andy.
Man, hardline always beats anything else, right? But I mean, think about the forefront of where security is going, right? I mean, right now, everybody is in a total knee-jerk reaction because nobody was prepared for what the hell's happening right now. So you guys that are in college going for these, great degrees, and keep doing what you're doing, but think 5, 10, 15 years down the road, please.
Yeah, the industry needs us for sure.
Yes,
I mean, it's like what, 0% unemployment or something like that, and it has been for a very long time.
There are massive staffing shortages though, because right now they're all looking for unicorns because everyone's in a knee-jerk reaction. So
yeah, it's like they want you to have your Security Plus certification for 20 years, and it's only been around for like what, 8, 9, something like that.
Oh yeah, they want you to have they want a master's degree with a minimum of 2 years experience, and your CISIP and your OSCP, and your CISIP is a minimum 5. You can't even get a CISIP without 5 years of verified experience.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I ran into that all the time looking for jobs. They're like, oh, you got to have this cert and 5 years of experience. Well, I need 5 years of experience to get the cert.
Yeah.
So, it's a nightmare sometimes. But I find that it's kind of loosened up a little bit. There's a little more opportunities for us in college. I mean, Splunk, hired me out of college, without the cert, and they're willing to put me in kind of a security-oriented role. And they're hiring lots of people in security-oriented roles too. Like I'm not even close to the only one. So.
Well, Splunk's a great company because they'll invest in you and your future.
Yeah, I'm very excited to work for them. But anyway, this isn't a Splunk commercial. Maybe another workshop for that one.
I do have my Splunk certification. I forgot about that.
I remember that. You got that before your CompTIA.
I got that when we were still in the program. Yeah.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah. You went to like Splunk Con and everything.
Oh man, I loved it. I'm a big fan of Splunk. I'm not even gonna lie.
Well, I will be working on their product security now. So it like literally doing security for the products that Splunk makes. It's going to be really awesome. Very excited for that.
I'm still interested in Andy's idea about running really long wires. I wonder if we could buy
Ross, I think you're the one who can do it. If anyone
I think we can buy an Ethernet cable at Costco to run it to Mars.
Dude, Walmart's 5 cents cheaper.
Okay, we're going to Walmart.
There you go.
Might have to go to the
Yeah, Cat 6, we wouldn't. Fiber would be better. Fiber would be a lot better.
Fiber optic cable all the way to Mars? I'm down.
Oh, fiber is so hard. If it's shielded right, I mean, well, one, it doesn't get any. We got to buy whole scale. Yeah, we do. It's expensive, but trust me, it's damn near impossible to hack into. And it doesn't get any interference from electromagnetic interference at all. I mean,
well, Tristan, with all the Doge I have saved up, I'm pretty sure I could buy all the stock of the fiber.
I've run enough fiber in my lifetime to probably reach Mars and back.
Yeah, don't you need like I remember talking to someone who works for the DOJ actually, and he had to run some fiber. You have to use like this really expensive tool if you want to like splice fiber together. It's big and
Yes.
crazy and like melts the wire and such. I
Yes.
can't remember what it is. Fiber's wild to me. I'm glad that, basically they're mostly building new infrastructure out of fiber now, which I appreciate, but
Mm-hmm.
there's still a lot of old stuff out there.
I'm
Um,
actually
Tons.
upgrading to fiber internet tomorrow because they
ooh,
offer it in
Yeah.
our apartment complex.
Lucky you, man.
nice.
I need it so that my
Congrats.
ping on the Call of Duty servers will be low.
Can you imagine your Martian ping to play Call of Duty? Even if you're using fiber, light takes like 8 hours. You got an 8 hour ping. That's
Boy,
makes for a good
that's when,
experience.
see, and that's when you future kids need to start figuring out an Ansible device. So instantaneous molecular communication through an Ansible.
Let's just set up a
If someone's
server
gonna
on
invent
Mars.
it, someone's gonna invent it. It's gonna be someone who wanted to play games faster.
That's
That's where the
exactly what it's going to
innovation's
be.
gonna happen.
We can do cross-planetary play. If your homeboy on Earth be like, hey, did you hear about the new COD whatever? It's got cross-planet play.
No, they'll make
Hey.
it so you can play cross planets, but you still won't be able to mix PC and Sony. They'll still not be able to figure that one out.
Dude, I still remember the day when we got a 44K modem, and that was fast. I mean,
Well, it was for sending what you were sending, but now it's
Yeah.
like a web page is 8 megabytes just to get started. So
Yeah.
things are a lot different now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we're rabbit holing. Definitely
We are.
good at the whole podcast thing.
Yeah,
I wanted
I think-
to ask one more question about before we call it here today, unless I get another one in my queue here, which is for all the students in the room. If you had to give any last advice specifically to college students looking to get involved in this industry, it doesn't even have to be certification related. What advice would you give? Pretty open-ended.
Well, I got to say, if you're in this webinar, whatever this is that we're doing right now, you're on the right path because you're looking for knowledge. Keep looking for knowledge. Keep, going out there. Chris brought up Try Hack Me and Hack the Box. These are two great cybersecurity online websites that are all geared towards self-education. You and your mind and your drive for success and your drive to get into this industry are going to be the biggest tools that are going to help you. And I mean, this is just step number one, listening to me and Chris, who, we were there, we took this class together. We took this UCSD course together. We studied on our own. Chris made a study group. It's just when you have that level of motivation, there's not much that can stand in your way. And yeah, that's just the biggest piece of advice is keep seeking knowledge, keep seeking to expand your horizons, because cybersecurity is just this giant balloon and just keeps getting even bigger. So there's never going to be a chance where you could sit down and say, I've learned enough about cybersecurity. I need to know nothing more.
Don't ever burn bridges, because you never know who you're going to come back across in the future. Period.
That's just good life advice.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just need to hear that, Ross. Because even in cybersecurity, even in computers, even in IT, Tony's saying too late. Everybody knows each other. Everybody talks to each other. I mean, my previous industry was a $14 billion global industry. And I can't tell you, I've been in Philadelphia and run into guys from back home because we were just happened to be in the same city on the same show doing the same thing.
Don't say something to another person that you wouldn't want turned into a meme and posted in a Discord chat. That's a good way to live your life.
I've learned that lesson.
Build a home lab. Practice. Never, ever be afraid to say, I don't know.
Never, ever.
But say, I don't know, but I'll go find out. I mean, that's huge right there, because there are people going to find out real fast whether you know what you're doing or not. Give cat, lots of pets, lots of love.
What
Please
about my
do. She
cat?
doesn't get enough from me. She's sulking
No.
over there now. I don't know
Yes,
if
I know.
y'all can see her. She's angry. I pushed her off on my lap.
Oh,
She doesn't want to move anymore. She's upset at me.
she is
It's
upset
okay.
at you.
She'll cheer up once I feed her. So
My
There you
kitty
go.
cat Astra is upset with me because I'm holding him.
justice for Coco.
Yes.
Well-
Oh, and the last thing I gotta say, if you can break it, because then you can figure out how to put it back together. That's important. That
Mhm.
especially in cybersecurity. You can
Yep.
figure out how to break something, your code, your network, anything. I mean, you break it. That'll teach you 1,000 things.
Yep. Take a lesson from Office Space.
Yes. I've had those
If
days
anyone,
before.
if anyone here's ever like actually just totally bricked your computer before, like didn't turn on, now you need to reinstall your OS or something, like that's a whole. I probably my heart grew 3 sizes that day or something like
Mhm.
that, or I guess my brain. Anyways, it'll
You had
teach you a lot about
You had a Grinch
the
moment.
process. Yeah, exactly. With Linux, actually, yeah, as well. I remember, people are like, "Oh,
Ooh.
go install Arch Linux or something." Like, yeah, literally do it. It'll teach you a
Yeah.
lot about how all that stuff works.
Yeah, well,
And then never do it
makes me
again
sad.
because,
Yeah.
but do it once. Do it
Yeah.
once is a good idea.
Well, I mean, and you could just download, just put it in, VMware or something.
Oh yeah,
You
you
can
don't
take
have to break
snapshots of.
something, but
Well, you can break the crap out of it in VMware and then just reload it.
Yeah.
Break it, figure out what's wrong with it, go in and fix it, and turn it
like
back
like
around.
Thanos turning back time. It's great.
Absolutely. That's why you should
No.
also build a home lab. I mean, a home lab's great. Mine's
Reality
tower-
can be whatever I want.
yes, it can.
Yeah, and VMware is basically free, I think, for UCSD students, anyways. So,
Mhm.
or at the very least, you can like find a key with a Google search. So, like y'all have no excuse. Or use VirtualBox, that's free.
Oh,
works
yeah.
just as well.
VirtualBox, and it's funny depending on which distribution of Linux you're pulling down. Some of them like VirtualBox over VMware, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like Kali Linux, Kali really likes VMware, and I think Parrot really likes VirtualBox. So it all depends on which flavor you're pulling down. So usually the developers will tell you, yeah, that's exactly. It does hate VirtualBox with a passion, Tristan. That's very much correct. It sucks trying to get Kali to work in VirtualBox. VMware, it'll run all day long, no problem. But yeah, I mean, and then just pick a flavor of Linux, download it, destroy it, tear it up, put it back together. My name is Ralph Martin. I'm a smart guy with really cool glasses.
These are anti-blue
Ross.
light glasses.
I know they are. Oh yeah, and so we're all being nice and polite here, but Ross and I, we've had a lot of fun making fun of each other during class in the past just to blow off steam. And everybody else and their mother. So
yeah.
Oh, and then
we'll go with that. There's my LinkedIn link in the chat, so feel free to spam me. I need more LinkedIn friends, or followers, what have you. It's like my Instagram.
There you go.
That's nostalgic,
Aaron,
Chris.
That was just for you. I thought you would like that. Would you like to tell the story before we depart for the day?
Sure. Well, maybe I will real quick, but we'll end on this because I'm sure some people have places to be. Back in the good old days of being a TA for the cybersecurity boot camp that birthed the Chris and Ross that you see before you here today, we had our instructor. Our class was led by Andre, who is a wonderful individual who is currently living out of Boulder, I believe. And I might move there because Splunk is there. So we'll see. But anyways,
you're going to lead me to Aaron?
Yeah, I will. Don't worry. We're waiting for you in Boulder. You got to come on down.
I like San Diego too much.
Yeah. Anyways, that's Andre's LinkedIn profile. At some point, the entire class had it as their background, and he turns around from his slides to look at the class and just sees his own face, a collage of it, and he was very surprised. It was a good time, and it escalated a little bit. I think Ross can attest to that.
Yeah.
You didn't wear your Eric shirt, or
well, the
your Andre
problem
shirt.
is that that thing it shrunk after every wash,
Oh,
and that if I were to wear it now, there would be a lot of nipple in this video chat.
Right, because it was a tank, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Andre, after we all made that our virtual background, it took him a while to notice, which was really funny. But he challenged us as a joke. He was like, "Oh, now you guys just got to put it on a t-shirt." And I was like, "Challenge accepted." And so I put his LinkedIn profile photo on a t-shirt, and I got it and I wore it to class several times.
it was epic.
It was awesome.
It was.
It was a good class.
I might be able to go grab it.
Yeah,
we had sub TAs that would come in, or even just Eric Johnson would come into the class to peek in on it, and their feedback was always something along the lines of, "Your class culture is weird. This is not a normal boot camp. There's something very very strange about it. We don't know what's going on, but it's good. Jealous. It seems good.
It worked out well for a lot of us.
Exactly.
There it is.
There's
my tank top with Andre's face on it.
The Andre shirt. I didn't think it would come to this. I didn't think it would come to showing this on the seminar, but here we are. Thank you, Ross.
Brought our weird culture with us.
You did. Well, thank you both, Ross, Chris, for both of you coming on out and giving some of your valuable Tuesday to this wonderful seminar. Y'all are welcome whenever you want, talk about whatever. We'll, if you start a podcast, we'll stream it in all of our Discord channels and such 24/7. So strongly consider it.
We should do it. I'm down.
Just hit me up on Discord. We'll find a time. I think Tristan here runs a podcast, or he used to anyways. Thank you everybody for coming on down. I'm going to go ahead and sign us off here because I actually do have to run at 7:30. But again, everyone say goodbye to our wonderful panelists. Panelists, you will be getting a follow-up from me here soon with some special rewards for your compensation for your time and energy. I will see everybody hopefully later.
Wait, and before this finishes up, can I get a pog in the chat?
Oh, you can get as many